Welcome to the Squared Circle Pit with your host, Rob Pasbani.
Now entering the Squared Circle Pit, he's a wrestler, he's a trainer, he's a man letting modern wrestling fans know about Dean Martin, the Sicilian stallion himself, Vinnie Massaro. How's it going?
How you doing, sir? How are you? I'm sorry. I know I'm West Coast, you're East Coast.
Yes.
I know it's different time zones, but
Oh,
I'm wide awake. You're like
I'm awake. I am awake. I'm
right,
caffeinated. I'm teed up. I'm smoked up. I'm ready to party.
geeked up. Let's go.
And no, but I love the tribute to Italian culture, because I feel like there's not enough of this in modern pro wrestling anymore. We had it with the FBI in the 90s, and of course Italians, I feel like in general Italians never get any sort of celebration at all. So I'm glad.
Honestly, the last person we all celebrated was Bruno Sammartino. For obvious reasons. I mean, he's the great Italian professional wrestler, like a true man's man. There should not be Columbus Day. There should be Bruno Sammartino Day. That's what I believe in. But I'm trying to bring that back because obviously, we had the FBI. We had Santino Marella. We had Enzo. So the Italian professional wrestler has always been looked at as kind of like in the last like 10 years, has almost been looked at with a little bit of fun and joking, but not at the same time not be considered tough. And I'm trying to bring that back because it's okay. Like I love the FBI. I love the FBI. Because they would come out, they would dance and talk, but then when they got in the ring, they were all business.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But then unfortunately, right now with Santino and then with Enzo, they would dance, they would do all this stuff, and then they get in the ring and they would still just dance and jokes and nobody took him seriously. I'm trying to change that. I'm trying to make it seem like, hey, Italian, because just how I wasn't, back home. My families, my dad, my uncles, my cousins, we would all laugh. We would all drink, be happy, crack jokes, dance, a little bit of singing. Always, if you've ever been to any Italian celebration, they always start singing. Everyone's just all of a sudden they grab, somebody has a little mandolin, they always start singing. But if anything goes down, if there's any kind of like problem, they're still gonna fight. You know what I mean? We all, if anything happens, we all gotta go in there and we all fight. And we all, we're still bad as just because a guy, likes to eat some pizza every now and then and sing some Italian song doesn't mean he can't fight.
So you're saying that your first trainer for pro wrestling was your father?
Pretty much. I mean, my cousins. I mean, probably my uncles and my cousins more than them. But just and then obviously it wasn't just playing soccer in the street and then always getting a fight. You always get in a fight. You play soccer in the street back in the day, and because I grew up in Sicily, you play soccer in the street. And you always end up getting into a fight over it. Something, someone does a slide tackle or somebody bumps them and they get hurt, and then everyone just starts fighting.
So you grew up in the old country. Were you born there?
I was born there. Yeah, I came here. I came to the United States when I was 10 years old.
Oh, okay, interesting. And where did you?
So it's not a gimmick. I'm not like a British actor or something. Where I'm just really good at my craft. No, I'm actually Sicilian. I was born there and everything.
Did you move to the West Coast or
yeah, we came here when I was 10 and we moved to San Francisco, lived in the North Beach district. If you ever visited North Beach, it's pretty much the little Italy of San Francisco. It's like in between Chinatown and Fisherman's Wharf. And my family moved there. I went to a Catholic school there, was an altar boy. I was the altar boy for Joe DiMaggio's sister's funeral. It was just, I was the only guy altar boy that spoke Italian, so I always did all the Italian masses. So like I would literally, like in the middle of the day, if there was like an Italian mass that had to happen or some Italian wedding or an Italian funeral, they would go. The priest would come upstairs, take me out of class, and bring me downstairs, and like I had to be at the mass for it.
And did you watch wrestling in Italy, or did you first get into it when you came here?
So this is the funny part is that because everyone's always asked me like, what is it in Sicily? So, this in Sicily, they don't really have too much like cartoons. Like they make their own cartoons. What they would do is they would get a lot of the Japanese anime and then just kind of just dub it in Italian. So what ended up when I was like 4 years old, the big popular one was Tiger Mask, like the original Tiger Mask anime. So they would show that, and it got so popular, like all the kids loved it, and they're like, okay, there's an Italian guy, I forgot what his name, but he would come on, and it would be kind of like the worldwide of sport. Like he would show like he would call it like catch wrestling, and he would show like all the New Japan matches. And I remember like watching like Antonio Inoki and like Ricky Chosu and the Great Muta and obviously like Tiger Mask. So like the very first wrestling that I ever watched was like New Japan Pro Wrestling, pretty much.
So Inokiism was built into you from childhood.
I mean, this is why everyone wonders, why am I so stiff in the ring? Why am I so snug? Now at 4 years old, this is the way. Is the only if you're 4 years old and you watch Antonio Inoki beat the living crap out of people, the Green Antonio. Of course, you're gonna have to. When you grow up, you're gonna be like me and just throw elbows. Which is funny because, Tiger Mask. At that time, Tiger Mask was actually Misawa, which ended up being my favorite wrestler of all time. Which I ended up getting a chance to wrestle him, like 20, 30 years later, or no, 20 years later. Yeah.
Yeah. I looked at your cage match page and I was fascinated. First of all, nearly 25-year career now. You hide the age well.
Thank you.
And no, but with that career, you've been quite a journeyman, as they say. And I was so impressed with the wide range of wrestlers that you wrestled, including Misawa. I thought that was so cool. I mean, like, how many people could say they wrestled the legendary Misawa? That must have been quite a day for you.
I mean, listen, how many people can say they wrestled Misawa and John Cena? I think there's like three of us. I think it's me, Samoa Joe, and Cesaro. I think that's it. That might be it.
You're right. Let's go back a little. So you were trained by Mike Modest, and this answered a question that I had, because I saw on your IMDb page that you're an uncredited part of the classic Beyond the Mat documentary.
Of course.
And while I haven't noticed, next time I watch, I will be looking for you. I'm guessing you're in the AP.
You will not see me.
No?
Yeah, you will not see me. So, spoiler alert, for those trying to see me on it, basically, I was like 17 years old and just training in outside. And then the guy's like, oh, listen, we're going to pan the camera. Nobody look at the camera. I was like, all right, cool. So I'm like 17 years old. I'm like this. All of a sudden, I go, I look straight, like I'm part of the office. Like I'm just like look at straight the camera. So if you'll see it, and you'll see a 17-year-old me like literally just turn and look at the camera, and then like towards the middle of it, like they're showing Roland like space, and I'm wrestling, like I'm in the ring, like beating somebody up, and that's pretty much it. I don't have any like you would literally would not notice me at all.
I'm gonna watch it like as a Bruder film. I'm gonna frame by frame it until I back into the left. Until I no, but that's awesome. So you were training with Joe, with John Cena. You were amongst that class. Is that accurate to say?
No.
No.
So, no. So basically, APW was up north. That was the Bay Area. It was in Hayward, California. And in SoCal was the Rick Bassman UPW that had Samoa Joe. It had Christopher Daniels. It had John Cena. So what we did ended up doing like one show. I think like 2-3 shows. We did like a NorCal versus SoCal thing, and like it was like my team. It was like the APW team versus like the UPW team, and the John Cena was on the other side of it. But I mean, I've known Samoa Joe and Christopher Daniels and like Frankie Kazarian, all those guys, TJ Perkins and everybody, all those guys that came from down there for a long time, for sure.
Because you trained on the West Coast, I feel like it was easier for you to work with these Japanese talents because it's a quicker trip for them to get over there.
I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with my trainer, Mike Modest, we weren't, we were never really kind of like the WWF or WCW kind of, training. We were always, at least for me, I was always like, I want to go to Japan. That was my main goal. So like I would study tapes from like All Japan, the Four Pillars, all the Japanese, wrestling. So I would study those matches. And then, so, which made me become that kind of, like before it was called strong style. I just, that was just the way we all wrestled. We all just wrestled a little snugger and more physical, more catch wrestling style, more suplexes, so I was always like, I was wrestled that kind of style. So it became easy when I did end up, wrestling the Japanese people, the Japanese wrestlers.
So let's take it back though. So you came here when you were 10. I'm guessing you're watching WWF and WCW, right? Or like, how did you then find your way back to the Japanese wrestling? Who smarted you up?
Yeah, exactly. So pretty much what happened was, I came here and I started watching WWF, and I would watch like pay-per-views, maybe just kind of watch it. But I wouldn't watch it like I religiously. I actually watched NWA, WCW more because I liked, like the Great Muta, and like, back then they were using like Stan Hansen, and they were using a lot, and their style was more like from what I preferred anyway. But then like, I think like when I got to high school, I just stopped watching it because even at that time it started getting bad. It was kind of like, I think it was like 93, 94, and like it was just, like it was on the downturn. So I stopped watching it. It was literally like back then, it was, if you thought if you think right now it's not cool to watch wrestling, back then, I don't know how old you are, but
Yeah, I'm 40, so I'm right there with you. That was quite a dark period.
You were literally, if you were watching wrestling, people would think you were just like the biggest loser in the world. Like you were just like, you had to like, you couldn't, like, everyone's like watching, everyone has like a t-shirt, they wear their t-shirt outside proud. Like I hate that shit. Like you never caught anybody on the outside like having a wrestling shirt. Like you only wore like if you went to like the, you know what I mean? If you went to like the actual events, but besides that, like, nah, it was not cool to be a wrestling fan. So I just kind of stopped watching it. And then I think like after high school, like I think I was like a senior. No, I was like a senior in high school, I think. My friend was like, dude, because we were like always like watching, like we were trying to like watch like bum fights and like just kind of like weird, just weird stuff on the internet. We were always like on message groups and just, just looking up weird stuff. And then my friend's like, dude, you gotta watch this fucking thing. It's pro wrestling. And I was like, man, I can't watch pro wrestling. It's not good anymore. And my friend's like, no, dude, you gotta watch this thing called ECW. And I was like, what is it? And we started watching clips of it. Because back then there was no, like, it wasn't like here where you can kind of like watch stuff here and there. It was more like, it was VHS. It was all through VHS tapes. So like, but people will like have pictures and stills of like the Public Enemy jumping off through this cage to the table, like Tommy Dreamer getting pile driven on, just blood everywhere. So I was like, all right, we gotta watch this shit. We gotta watch this shit. So we went and we found, my friend had like one of those giant dishes, and we go to his house like on Friday like night at 2 a.m. and watch like the Sunshine Network from Florida, and then because they would show ECW, and we watched it and we fucking fell in love, and that's when I fell in love with wrestling. Like just I was back. I'm hooked. Like I got all the tapes. I got all the shirts. I got the best of Sabu. I got the best of Taz. My Taz was like my all-time favorite. Like come back. Terry Funk was like my, became, just watched them all every time, I watched every single thing. Had like all the t-shirts, had my Team Taz. I would like wear my Team Taz Dojo shirts to the school. I don't give a shit. Like I was invested 100%. And then when you go on the message, because back then it wasn't like Twitter or anything, you go message boards. You have to like go into like a wrestling website, or like AOL would have like the grandstands, and you would just talk about wrestling. And then, just started watching, just kept up to that. That's how I did it,
Yeah, absolutely. So just through the message boards, that's when you started learning about the Japanese stuff and digging more. And ECW as well. I feel like that was my first exposure to a lot of, the Japanese guys and Mexican wrestlers as well, and
Right.
really
Well,
all these different
that's
styles.
right. Because then when you go to message boards, then you like obviously, you know what I mean. Like you go like, hey, have you guys seen FMW? May 5th, and you're like, what the fuck is that? And then you
Right.
watch FMW, you watch King of Deathmatch, and you watch FMW, and then you like, have you guys seen this? These two guys are literally beating the shit out of each other. It's Kawada and Misawa. You guys got to watch it. And then you're like, have you seen Kobashi? Have you seen all this shit like Stan Hansen? And I was like, wait a minute, these are the people that I fell in love with. And then I started realizing I can actually
It
watch
exists.
Japanese wrestling. It's back, and it's even better than before. It's all Japan. You know what I mean? It's all Japan. And then that's when I completely fell in love with all Japan wrestling and ECW and all that stuff.
And tell me, let's talk a little bit about music. So, like, what music were you listening to growing up? Obviously, Dean Martin, but I mean, like, more of the heavy metal stuff.
Yeah, no. So like, I'm a really big Metallica fan. I think like the first time, like, I think I was like a freshman in high school when like the Black album came out, and then like me and my, and everyone was, everyone's like Kids on the Block or whatever, or just like R&B and rap. But I was just all me and my five friends. We were all about Metallica and just listening to that. And then obviously we started listening to the older stuff and got into all that. But I think Metallica was my first, like big, thing that I fell in, the first band that I fell in love with when it comes to like the heavy metal stuff.
At what point did you start thinking maybe I should try this pro wrestling thing?
Oh, geez. I think when you go on the message boards, I think like because of the ECW was gaining some popularity, I think the APW started going and goes, hey, come watch. They had this thing called Gym Wars, which is basically like an ECW hardcore show. And I went to go see it. I didn't even know there was indie wrestling involved or whatever. And I go in and watch it. And then the guy's like, we have a school. You guys can, you can learn how to be a pro wrestler. And which is insane. Like I don't even understand how that could happen. But and then eventually, yeah, I started training, and then the rest is history. Obviously, 26 years later, yeah.
I feel you lucked out too, because I feel like a bunch of people I've talked to have said, back then it was very hard to even find a wrestling school because
It's very hard. It's impossible. Yeah.
Yeah. So just that you were that close to one, and look at what ended up happening then.
Yeah, I definitely got lucky. The stars were aligned for sure, but there's been a lot of ups and downs. That's for sure.
So now let's fast forward to this Misawa match. You get the call or the word, hey, guess what? Your next opponent, this guy Misawa. You heard of him?
Yeah, it is. So yeah, so basically, it was a tag match. It was Misawa and Ogawa versus me and Doug Williams, and I heard about it like I think like he told me like a week prior because it was supposed to be very very like like a very hush hush and nobody was supposed to know. And I swear to God, I couldn't sleep for like 5 days. I was just so nervous, and that's my hero. That's the reason. Like I love pro wrestling, and he's my favorite wrestler, and I just fell in love with all the things that he's ever done. So I was super nervous. I was the most nervous I've ever been in my whole career for sure.
And so when you're in there exchanging hits with him, how stiff were his elbows? How stiff were his forearms?
Oh, he completely knocked me like silly. Like the very first thing, the very first move he did, he just backed me up and he opened me up, and then he did the spinning back elbow to the back. Oh, when he spun the other way, and he hit me in the back, and he hit me like I didn't know what was happening. He just hit me right in my chin, and I just buckled. I just went straight down. I couldn't, and that was like the first thing. And I was just, and meanwhile, in my, I'm like, oh my God, that was so cool. That was, you know what I mean? I'm like, yes, that was the coolest thing that's ever happened in my life.
You're unconscious, but you're consciously still like, oh my God, this is amazing.
I'm the happiest man in the world. Yeah, I'm the happiest man in the world for sure.
And would you say, like, did you learn anything from him that night? Like, just being in the ring, I'm sure it was less than enough.
Yeah, no, I mean, I, of course, you know what I mean? Because I mean, it's, I think I learned, not so much that he taught me anything. I think he just, I just learned to be, how do I say? I learned to be secure and confident in my wrestling ability, and to just because I was so nervous, but I ended up wrestling with him, and it was I felt like I didn't like go head toe to toe with him, but we just wrestled. You know what I mean? We just exchanged holds, and it was just a lot of grappling and back and forth. And I didn't, I didn't. I was nervous, and obviously the legend, but I felt more confident in my wrestling ability that I could go in there and just wrestle with somebody like arguably one of the greatest wrestlers of all time.
Absolutely. And another really cool moment is you wrestled in Arena Mexico and you faced Jun Akiyama there.
Which is crazy. Which is like, doesn't make any sense. Yeah,
it sounds like a Mad Lib. I'll wrestle Jun Akiyama in Arena Mexico.
Arena Mexico. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. That was another crazy thing. I mean, I got because I became friends with Ultimo Dragon. And he invited a couple of us to his Dragon Mania show, which we had to do. And it'd be cool. I would trust you if you can be in the ring against Akiyama. And I was just like, what the fuck? That's just the craziest thing ever. And so yeah, I get to wrestle him in Arena Mexico, and it was a tag match with Vapor, Nick Ruiz, Jungle Boy. Jack Perry was there too, and we all got to wrestle. Doki was on the other side. Zeus, Akiyama. There was another person that I keep forgetting his name, but I have to look it up. But yeah, it was like an 8-man tag. But yeah, it was just surreal because it was just Arena Mexico. It was like the cathedral, you know what I mean? The Lucha Libre capital, you know what I mean? It was just amazing. It was an amazing day for sure.
Do you feel like you had to change your style up a little bit, wrestling for the Mexican fans, or?
A little bit. I mean, a little bit. I mean, we didn't at that match, but I mean, I've trained with Skyday, so I do know how to wrestle Lucha Libre in case, I do need, if somebody does need, I do know how to wrestle Lucha Libre just in case. So I feel comfortable and confident in doing that too, if it needed to be that way. But we just wrestle our own style.
Yeah, and like fast forward to the modern stuff. Like I love seeing you in the hardcore promotions, like seeing you in Circle 6, where you're portraying the antithesis to the hardcore style, and in that way you kind of stand out. Like in previous times, I feel everyone was the pro wrestler, and then there was the one hardcore guy, like the Cactus Jack or whatever, and you're almost the Cactus Jack of this promotion, but the anti-Cactus Jack of you don't want to do the hardcore.
I don't want to do that bullshit. I don't want to do like.
I don't want those light tubes.
Fuck that. Yeah, no, there's no chance in hell. Fuck all that. There's no way. I'm not doing that garbage shit. It's ridiculous. Like, I'm sorry. I know it's good. It's great and everything. There's a lot of people like it. It's not for me. It's really not for me.
What is your favorite style to work? The
work?
Yeah.
Man, I think probably like strong style or lucha libre. I really like those two. Those are my favorite ones. I also like tag team wrestling. That's kind of that's a cool little thing, that I've done in the past before.
Yeah, so I thought it was really cool that one of your former tag team partners was the great Juventud Guerrera, and
part of the Black Army at XPW.
And the Juice is a very outspoken individual. Did you end up partying a bit with him? Were you sharing some drinks, getting known, building the chemistry?
I did not end up sharing any drinks with or having any drinks with the Juice. I was back when I was at XPW. I just hung out with Big Grimes because that's the person that I started wrestling with. When I first started, it was me and Vic were together. We're called the Grimes Brothers. So I was just hanging out with Vic, most of the time. I honestly I couldn't hang with the Juice. Once the Juice gets loose, it's a wrap. You know what I mean? You can't you can't bottle it back up. It's over.
You mentioned Vic Grimes reminded me there was that ECW pay-per-view in LA. I know you said you were a NorCal guy, but did you end up making it down there for that one?
No, I did not. I was not a part of that. I didn't go. I didn't go there. No, I didn't go to the ECW tapings, that pay-per-view. I wish I would have, because I mean it was a good show. Plus, it was very memorable in the history of professional wrestling for sure.
Yeah, there would have been that crazy brawl that you would have witnessed with the XPW, with your future
the
employers.
People, yeah, future employers, yes. But it was so funny because like half of the people from ECW ended up working for XPW, which is it's a different story altogether. That's what pro wrestling's all about, right?
Yeah. Whoever's footing the bill, sure, whatever.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, I love, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, Eric Bischoff works for WWE, you know, it's whoever, you know, that's why everyone's like, I would never do this. I'm like, man, come on now. It's like, yeah, wrestling is a weird business. You'll do whatever.
Yeah, it's a weird business also because you might just find yourself sharing a pizza pie with Kenta Kobashi as you did this past weekend. I saw those photos.
Honestly, like, yeah, what is the craziest thing ever? Just literally the craziest thing. After the show, you know, there was, you know, we were like, oh, come to the lobby. You know, Scott, the owner of West Coast, he's like, hey, come to the lobby. I was like, all right, I go to the lobby. And literally, it's Ultimate Dragon and Kenta Kobashi drinking wine. And they're like, sit with us and we'll all drink wine. So I'm like, sure, I'll sit with you, two legends, drinking some wine, which is the funny part, which is the Ultimate Dragon has his own wine from Napa. So we were all drinking Ultimate Dragon's wine. And there was like his translators there, and I'm listening. He's telling me, oh, they're talking about Giant Baba now. They're talking about Tenryu now. And he's explaining to me all the stories that they're telling me. And then all of a sudden, pizza guy comes, and it's just this giant pizza, and Kenta Kobashi has. I'm like, I gotta take a picture. So like, took a quick picture. And I'm just like, it's so real. I can't believe it.
Yeah, and I think it's so cool that you're training people at West Coast Pro. When did you realize that you had the gift of teaching? Because not everyone could be a trainer.
Right. You know, honestly, I think it's just, you know, like once at APW, I think Mike Modest was like, you know what, I want you to like help out with teaching. And then when he started his own promotion, his own school at Pro Wrestling Iron, like I helped teach there. And then just, you know, I started, I think the thing that separated me is that I was always kind of like the guy that came up with really cool moves. Like, you know, my first thing in my career, I was the innovator. I came up with like different cool moves and a lot of moves that people use now. Like I kind of was one of the first people to do it. So, and people would ask me, it's like, you know, I need this, I need that move for here. And I would come up with those kind of moves for these people. So I think, you know, people started like asking me more advice and questions about training. And then obviously because of that, you know, I started training the people and you know, I just became good at it. You know what I mean? I just, you know, because no matter who's in the ring, you know, if it's a man or a woman or no matter the age, I'm just like, we're all pro wrestlers. And I just, you know, just go in there and I'm going to teach you to be a pro wrestler. And that's all I know.
What moves should wrestlers be giving you credit for?
The white noise from the Sheamus or the Celtic Cross. I invented that move. I'm the first person
Cease
to do
and
that
desist
move.
WWE.
Or, you know, like the crypt, you know, I know Nova stole it from me. Yes, I said it. Nova stole it from me. Call it a Kryptonite Crunch. But I'm the one that I did it first at Gym Wars. Christopher Daniels was there and saw it, and he named it the bitch slap. So if anyone wants to know, the bitch slap I'm the originator of the bitch slap, which is all those moves that you can figure. Then you can see everywhere pretty much now. Oh, and also the other one that I'm famous for is the Cormier driver, the DCD, the Daniel Cormier driver. You watch UFC at all, or MMA?
Like very little.
So Daniel Cormier he fought Dan Henderson, he fought Josh Barnett, and he would do this thing called a high crotch suplex and just slam him and pick him up. Well, I do the same thing, but I ended up like a driver, which is great. Which is, you know, fast forward to a few years ago when Cain Velasquez was trained to be a pro wrestler. He came to my school, and I trained him to wrestle. And I taught him how to do the Daniel Cormier driver, and I taught his version. So when he does it, he hooks the arm in, and it's the Cain Velasquez driver.
Oh, very nice. I was going to ask about that. That must have been so cool to see Cain Velasquez, someone who very clearly established himself in a different profession, albeit a
Yeah,
similar
yeah,
one.
yeah. No,
Come to you and look for your advice.
I know it was when I when Conan first asked me about it, I was like, yeah, of course, because we're from the Bay Area, so same thing. So I taught him and he loved it. I still talk to him. We still we still go and we still train every now and then. And like I said, yeah, I mean, I still talk to him. We're still in communication. He's a great guy, and hopefully, who knows, maybe he'll get back in the pro wrestling ring sooner than later. We'll see. To be determined.
His lucha stuff is pretty wild, like what he was doing.
Well,
I was very, very impressed.
Yeah, he's a big fan. He loves lucha libre, so of course, the stuff came easy for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it really comes across, especially that he decided to wrestle with a mask on. Like
with the mask on, yeah.
Yeah, like that's not something you would expect from a celebrity, but as a fan of lucha libre, of course, of course, you would want it.
It makes sense, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was really great. So, how did you get connected to West Coast Pro? How did they approach you, and how long have you been doing that?
So during COVID, if some people don't know, during COVID, California was locked down, like completely locked down. Like and I don't know how New York was, but we were like, only 5 people could be in the grocery stores. Like there's no gyms. Or, at one point it got so bad that like you couldn't even have like 5 people over your house. You know what I mean? So we had zero wrestling. I know there was like some people, I know WWF and AEW was doing like the close. We couldn't do anything. Like we couldn't train, we couldn't do anything. So I just I would go online and just kind of vent my frustration, and that's when Scott Brigante, the owner of West Coast, that's when he pretty much, me and him started talking, and I started, talking about my philosophies and how I would book this and how he would book that. And he was just like, can we just talk? Can I pick your brain? And I did. And he's like, hey, listen, when we come back, if we come back, I would like you to be part of it. I'll book you for the, for promotion. And then finally, like, I think it was like 18 months or something, we finally came back and we had our first, he had the first show and I wrestled on it. And then the more we kept talking, it's like, hey man, listen, it's like, it'd be nice if I can have some help with promoting and booking and, and doing stuff like that. And he goes, also, I have a facility that I would like for somebody to teach. And that's when, he asked me, and, I've done it for now it's almost been three years now, with West Coast, wrestling, teaching, helping in the back, doing the booking. And, it's fun. Obviously I'm 26 years in. I don't know how much longer I'll be taking bumps and doing all this stuff. So I think eventually, like, I'm going to hopefully go into like a behind the scenes role, if it's training, if it's being an agent, or if it's helping with the booking of the shows. That's my next step. My next goal is to be that kind of person in pro wrestling.
Yeah, and I've been hearing a lot about West Coast Pro, and I'm all the way on the East Coast, on the complete opposite side of the country. And I just saw you guys announce Chris Hero his return match with Tim Thatcher, and that's going to be a banger. And I feel like even I heard Meltzer and Alvarez talk about you guys. It's got to be fun to be a part of the organic growth of the company over these last 3 years.
Yeah, it's it's very rewarding, to have when I first was with West Coast Pro, we were it was popular, but it wasn't as popular as it is now, obviously. And, we were drawing, like 150 people, 200 people. And now to look at it, like this last show, we had, all these Japanese talents, and I think we had like almost 500 people at the venue. And we're getting all this press. People are saying like, it's one of the best indie promotions out there. It's very rewarding, that to know that like I kind of helped in that matter. and kind of help make it to where it is now. Even if it's just I had a little bit of a hand, I feel very proud of it.
That's great. You said you don't have that much time left in the ring, or obviously more time has passed than will be left in the future. Is there anyone on your list, any active wrestlers that you're like, before I hang up those boots, I need to be facing this guy?
Oh man, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think. I mean, I've wrestled Misawa. Masato Tanaka was on my list, and I got to wrestle him last weekend. I don't know. I don't know if there's like a must-have person. There's people that I definitely would like to wrestle. Like I would like to wrestle. Brian Danielson. I would like to wrestle Shibata. I would like to wrestle Minoru Suzuki. I would like to wrestle Jamie Hayter. I think she's one of like the best female wrestlers on the planet. There's a lot of Japanese talent. A lot of female. I don't know. Gender matches that I would like to have. But it's just at the end of the day, it's just wrestling. You know what I mean? It's just it doesn't have to be like intergender. It's just there's a lot of talent. That I would like to wrestle. I think Shane Strickland Swerve is is the future of professional wrestling. I think he's like one of the humongous big stars that's gonna 10 years from now, and Will Ospreay, those are all great talents. But for me, yeah, I want to wrestle the hard hitters. So, Minoru Suzuki, Brian Danielson, Moxley. I would love to wrestle Moxley, Jamie Hayter. All those people I think are pretty on the top of my list, and obviously in Danielson but back in the we can have one match back in the day, and also Samoa Joe. That's another one that I just off the top of my head.
What's your weekly pro wrestling diet? Do you watch all the shows? Do you just kind of keep up online?
Yeah, I just kind of keep up online. If there's something comes up that's good, like if there's like an Eddie Kingston match that's on TV, like I'll watch it. I watch like a Danielson Zack Sabre Jr. match. I'll watch that. I usually try to watch a lot of John Moxley matches. But yeah, it's impossible to watch everything, obviously. So I just kind of digest what I see online, and I follow people that have the same interests, the same likes as me. And then if they say, "Oh, this is a good match," then I'll go ahead and go out of my way and watch it.
That makes sense. I mean, you're a busy guy, and there's way too much TV.
Well, yeah, there's a big, but also there's like between Mexico, because I watch CMLL and AAA, and there's all those Japanese promotions, and then there's all the American stuff. So it's obvious, it's a lot of hours throughout the day to watch stuff.
Absolutely. What do you have coming up next? Do you have any shows throughout the rest of the year that you want to play?
This weekend I have nothing, so I'm trying to go see. I'm hoping to go. Go watch. Go watch some hardcore bands in my area.
Oh, which bands?
Actually, yeah, you'll be a good guy to.
This is the spot to talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. So I think maybe like 2 years ago, I started really getting into like hardcore music, and obviously I'm from the Bay Area, so I love Tsunami, Skull and Drain. Those are like big boys. Just I love all those bands. But as of late, I'm starting to go to a lot of the smaller, like just $5, hole in the wall kind of like shows. I'm starting to appreciate some of the more local stuff. Like it's a band called Mugshot. It's from the Bay Area. I think they're fucking awesome. And and there's a lot of stuff here in the 219 where I live. D Streets, and there's a lot of cool stuff like that that's playing. So I'm hoping I'm this weekend I'm just gonna go randomly if I gotta go to Berkeley, in San Jose, and just trying to catch up on some hardcore shows. I can't get in the pit anymore, unfortunately. My brain is too mushy to get in the pit, because if I catch a spin kick I'm out for a bit.
Yeah, the pit is like getting hit with a light tube. It's not for you anymore.
No, it's worse, because like you're just chilling, all of a sudden there's like you get elbowed in the back of the head, and then of course they all look at me and they're like, "Oh, this guy can take it." I'm like, "No, my brain is gelatin right now. I can't. I got 26 years of headshots. I can't take anymore."
Do you have a worst headshot that you've ever taken? Do you have one that stands out to you? Is like, oh, that was a bad one.
Oh man, I don't. Yeah, I don't remember. That's the whole point. It's so
Fair point. Fair point.
it was so bad. It's so bad I remember it. But then the 28th. Sorry,
Sure.
the 28th. I am wrestling for Pro Wrestling Revolution. So I will be in a 6-man tag. It's myself and two other people, two other luchadors, against Mr. El Misterioso Jr., Kukui, and Vikingo. So that's gonna be pretty crazy.
That is going to be quite crazy. That's awesome, man. Well, Vinny, thank you so much for giving me some of your time. I'm going to link your socials in the description. People can check you out and follow you.
Please
see
do.
where your matches are. And hopefully this will inspire.
And then
I was going to say, hopefully this is going to inspire Dean Martin's number to completely spike on Spotify.
Please, yes. And then and I'm going to go ahead and I never do this, but if anyone's got any tickets to Sick New World, please hook a brother up. I couldn't give anything.
This is important. This is important.
This is important, but no,
they're expensive tickets.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. But no, just I appreciate you. Before I go, I was gonna say I appreciate you taking the time to let me do this. You know, I really like how you guys support indie music and also support indie wrestlers. It's an indie wrestling promotion. It's very nice that you guys go out and do that. And I appreciate it. And please, by all means, support West Coast Pro, Circle 6, Pro Wrestling Revolution, Wrestling Prestige, Relentless. Everybody from on the West Coast. I know everyone just everyone just watches stuff from the East. Because there's so much of it. But the West Coast is the best coast. Sorry to say it. I'm sorry, Rob. I apologize.
Fighting words. The pizza's better here.
I know you're gonna be. I mean, yeah, but the burritos are better on my side.
That's fair. That's fair. I can't argue that. Well, next time I'm on the West Coast, you'll have to take me out to some burritos, and next time you're out here, I'll take you out to some L&B Spumoni Gardens.
Oh, let's go! I can't wait. That sounds good.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much, Vinny.
I appreciate it. Thank you.